Hey guys, Bryce Raley, Marketing Squad. We are kicking off Squad Talks over coffee, and we're going to be unpacking setting company goals, both big company goals and digging into marketing and sales goals. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Squad Talks over coffee. It is the first episode of 2022 rolling out at you. We had a little break for, holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas and such, getting out of the gate. January, the COVID month, officially COVID month. We're past that. So we are rolling. We were hopefully not annual COVID month, but definitely this month.
Between this COVID and snow days,
yeah, it was.
That was a little bit of a rough ride.
It was an interesting January. So, but we're here. We're rolling in 2022, and we're talking about a cool topic out of the gate, I think, which is goals.
Yes, I love this topic.
With a Z on the end, always.
Let me nerd out, please.
Oh, yeah, that's what we're here for. So, I think we're going to start, and I've got Alex, by the way.
Hey.
Seibert, Director of Partner Marketing here at the Squad, in charge of many partner accounts. Mm-hmm. And we are drinking some coffee. It's a 2-cup day for Alex. That's
if you
normal
see me
for
jittering at the end of the episode, you know what happened.
2 cups, very normal for me. 3rd in the afternoon usually. So, got some diner mugs. Just going plain today. If I can get a diner mug in my hand, that's what I've got.
Yeah,
always.
I will always pick that. Sometimes I open up the cabinet, I'm like, what am I feeling today? And literally, it's not like one of them is like my angry mug or my happy mug.
Yeah.
No, it's just, what am I feeling today?
Yeah, I did the same thing. I just throw them over my shoulder.
My husband doesn't understand, but it's fine. It's fine. Sean, you don't have to understand, honey. It's okay.
There we go. Well, we are going to get in and talk about, first we're going to talk about company goals as a whole, and then we're going to kind of get more drilled down into marketing, maybe even sales goals a little bit, but marketing for sure. Many companies have a process for this. I don't know what that process is for many companies, but I know what ours is, so I can talk about it.
Yeah, I think you should.
I like
our process. Mm-hmm.
So we follow EOS, Entrepreneurial Operating System. Even before we did that in 2017-ish, is that when we made that move? 18 maybe, to EOS? Even before that, we had an annual owners leadership retreat where we got away in November and we just said, all right, let's unpack, 11/12ths of this last year. Like I did. That was good math. Quick, wasn't it? And let's talk about next year, where we're heading. Yeah. And, we'd set some goals for revenue, for team stuff. It wasn't just, purely numbers, some sales goals, those kind of things. Growth goals, development goals. But, many company goals.
Yeah.
And then we would come back to the team, talk about those. We'd do a wrap of the year and then start marching toward those goals. Yeah. So it's probably normal rhythm. I know some businesses operate on different fiscal years. They close out in September 30th.
Yeah.
And we even have a few that we work with that do that. Are there 30 or 31 days in September now that I said that? I think there's 30. I mean, they want to know. So we'll figure it out later. We'll post it in the comments.
Edit it in, please.
We'll post it in the comments later, in case you're wondering. Some people do that thing, like Ashley, my wife, does the thing on her knuckles where she does it. I'm not
go back to first grade.
Yeah, not gonna do that. But anyway, we set those, we roll them out. I'm assuming most companies do that in some form. If you don't, you should. I'm sure. It's proven in life that goals are kind of important.
Yeah. They're kind of mysterious, though. Sometimes you get into it and you're like, okay, well, I'm going to set goals. And you're like, okay, but, where do I start? What do I, how do I get there?
Yeah.
It's crazy. What do you guys do?
What do we do? Okay. Yeah, I do a lot of personal goals for sure. Always have. And there's different schools of thought on goals. Mm-hmm. I'm from that, school of thought of BHAG, big, hairy, audacious goals. Mm-hmm. Not everybody is, so
intimidating.
I play along. I usually have a BHAG goal that I've got in the back of my mind for a few things, and then I've got the goals that I
you
share
say
with
out
other
loud
people.
To people.
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
You actually have to achieve.
And that's just me knowing me. If I shoot for the big one, I'll probably outdo what I did if I shot for a small one. It's just the way I'm wired. So, but anyway, as a company, I think going through that process is key, and then where we often fit in, as a company's established their goals, is we come in and try to meet them, especially in your role, Alex, to say all right, what are our goals, as a company, and how do we support those with marketing and sales, which is the things that we support. More and more, I think we could be helping support some service things in the future.
Yeah.
For now, it kind of falls in the realm of sales and marketing.
Yeah.
And so, walk me through how you kind of get in with a client and kind of start to unpack that with them.
Yeah.
And it's not always easy. They're not always willing to share financial numbers and areas of the business they want to grow and different things like that. So
yeah, I always start usually by looking back. Like I don't think that you should just pick something out of thin air. But I like hearing the company goals, and even if they're the same as last year, like I'm on board with that. But how do we keep like building upon what we've already done or what the team has already done? But there's like 3 questions that I love to ask towards the end of every year as I'm looking towards the next one.
Let's hear 'em.
What's working? What's not working, which you have to be really honest with yourself, and then what did we learn, and like how do we like move on from that?
It's a little bit of EOS woven into that. So
Yes,
that's cool,
yes,
yeah.
and so I think usually when I look at a year, any client, any business, and I can answer those 3 questions, even if there's just 2 or 3 things under each like bullet, then that's where usually the what's not working helps me figure out where I need to put more attention and focus and like how I build a goal around that.
Yeah.
And then the second part is once you say out loud, okay, we want to increase traffic, or we really want to get in front of this group of people or this part of the world or whatever it is, then you have to make smart goals. You have to actually, you can't just say, I want to get in front of that.
I've heard of these things. I always screw the acronym up. Let's see if we can. See if we can.
You're gonna put me on the spot. Smart goals are specific, measurable, achievable.
Or I've heard attainable too, or achievable.
Attainable, yes.
It's probably officially achievable, but
relevant.
Yeah.
And time bound.
Yeah, I've heard time bound and specific, specific. Yeah.
It is very difficult to put all 5 of those. I find it very difficult to put all 5 of those things into a goal. But if you work really hard, and think about how you can do that, and if you can fit in most of them, then you are way more likely to meet it. And you have something you can come right behind it and say, how are we going to measure this and be sure that we're on track? So you can track month to month or quarter to quarter, depending on like what frame of reference you're in.
I think you and I, as Alex and I were talking the other day, 5 minutes before the filming of this, we were talking about how so much of this comes natural to us because we do operate with EOS internally, and it forces you into scorecards. It forces you into vision and goals and
being really honest with where you are.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of forces you. If you're going to follow, it's going to force you into that. And then we've incorporated some of that into our process with serving clients. So if you're a partner with us, then you are going through. Alex takes people through this all the time. What's called a quarterly review and planning meeting. Where it's interesting that it's filtered through our core values. How are we serving through our core values? But it's also going through and saying, what did we do last quarter? What are we doing this quarter? What's working? What's not? How do we have the goals adjusted at all? A lot of times they haven't.
Right.
And it's a powerful process. We ask clients to come in for a 2.5-3 hour meeting once a quarter for this,
and
or we go to them.
Usually we take that amount of time. Normally it takes that amount of time to get through it, but everybody that I've had generally, I think, loves it or finds it very valuable because they're sort of forced to say, okay, here's what we think is working, and here's the results of that, and then here's what's not really working here, or here's some like challenges, some friction that we need to sort of resolve, either within the partnership, how we're working together, or frequency, or how we work with other. Sometimes we work with like outside. Other departments in the company, and how do we sort of reduce that friction to make it go?
That was going to go there next. Is that it gives them as leaders of the business, and we won't hold one of these without obviously Alex, some key team members on our team that are working, key team members from our clients team, and even somebody here, kind of an executive level or leadership level. We don't have any executive here. We're 15 people. I don't even like the CEO type, Alex. I just want to be like a owner, just owner.
No.
But anyway, we have somebody from leadership team or who sold the account involved in that quarterly. Yeah. Every once in a while it happens where it doesn't work out again during crazy COVID months and winter snowstorm months and vacation months a little bit. But our goal is always to have them in there because then you've got all the folks who know what's going on here internally. We know they've had a chance to collect what's going on from different areas of their business and bring it all and lay it all out and kind of just talk through it. So, we usually have folks in here for that meeting so they're kind of away from their environment, can get out of the weeds a little bit, the distractions. But, a lot of our meetings will go, our monthly strategics and the other months we'll go to their office as well sometimes if that's a win for them.
Alternate.
So that whole process we've created just keeps you on pace and on track for that. We're never operating without knowing some kind of a goal.
Yeah.
Or multiple goals. Usually I see 3 or 4 key goals on a QRP or a monthly strategic.
Yeah. I try to keep it at like 3 or 4, and maybe the activities that support the 3 or 4 goals, are many. It kind of depends. Like that's where you get into the nitty gritty, and it's very client specific on what they need. But I try to stick to like 3 or 4. There's usually like some kind of brand goal, like awareness basically, some kind of lead gen goal, and then there's usually some sort of like support goal or
I've seen that a lot more in the last few years is support of the sales team, events, as they're starting back up. Just what could we do to support sales or this little initiative they've got. Account-based marketing is a term that's thrown around a lot. Just really like who are we going after? Some we're just trying to attract whoever into the funnel. With the flywheel, we're trying to just kind of talk and do all the things we do around the customer to keep that spinning and generating referrals and reviews and those kind of things. But then there's the what can we do with supporting the sales and who we're targeting and going out, on a real, kind of sniper basis, if I can use an analogy like that.
I think so.
Okay, versus shotgun, funnel, snipers, kind of more.
Yeah, I agree.
You just don't know what you can say 2022, Alex. So
it's true.
Yeah. What else do we want to talk about? I know you had some other thoughts with just goals in general, where they can fall flat. Where we can get in trouble with how we think about them. You said they're a mysterious thing earlier. So
yeah, they are kind of a mysterious thing, and I feel like even I found myself sometimes going to LinkedIn or going to publishing sites that I follow or look to for like trends and things, and lo and behold, every year somebody always has the top 15 trends for 2022 or 20 whatever. But somebody posted on my LinkedIn the other day, or sometime in the last month or so, he was like, listen, just ignore all of those. Here are the things you need to do in 2022. Because he's like, number one, nothing changes between 12/31 and 1/1. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's, yes, totally. And I feel like I knew that deep down, and maybe that's why I was so resistant to always like jump onto the trends. But the reality is that marketing trends are always changing, and you always kind of have to keep your eyes up and keep learning. But it's like one of those daily, weekly things you just have to keep checking in. It's not something that's going to like drastically change unless Google changes something 12/31 to 1/1. Then that might change your goals a little bit. But we're all kind of like beholden to their timeline. But
it's a great point. And people are publishing content. They need things to talk about. So they're going to talk about things. Now, what catches my eye is like more and more. I've always been a far too anecdotal kind of guy, which is it's not great. I trust my gut a lot, which probably is good, but I'm getting more and more to where like just where there's good sources of data and you can learn a lot from that.
Yeah.
And so if I see something that's really data driven and saying like, hey, we're seeing these trends and this happening, we've got a client in that space and their data is amazing. The insights you can glean, and I think when you get that kind of thing, you go, all right, that catches my attention. Like I do see a trend happening in 2022, but so much of it is just subjective. It's like, I'm sitting around and I was writing an article and I feel like this is going to be a thing.
Yeah. But I feel like also, now that I think about it, maybe it makes sense because everybody's doing their year-end review, and so a lot of data is compiled at the end of the year, and so maybe that's where a lot of the trends, like measurable trends, come from. But I think that you can do that internally too. Like if you go back and look at, here's what January looked like, here's what December looked like, where are the big gaps, where are the big differences, what worked, what didn't work. Like you're going to get that on your own too, in your own perspective.
Well, and the thing that I take away from what you were saying is you got to be careful. You can't just Google marketing trends 2020, take the first one you see and go like, all right, this is where things are going.
Yep, follow this list.
Yeah.
No, that'll never work.
You had also, you were talking about habits earlier, and, I had the kids setting goals. Probably waited far too late for them to start doing that, but we've been doing it for the last year. It's what, like the old analogy, like best time to plant an oak tree 30 years ago, next best time's now. There you go. Kind of cliche, but I do love that quote. So with the kids, I was talking about it, they're starting to do that at home, and you'll see them write goals that are clearly habit-based. I want to start doing this daily, weekly. And those are great.
Yeah.
They're just hard to measure. If there's no time specific, there's no really measurable, how do I know if you're doing that? How do you know if you're doing that? And I think that's where, you and I both talked about a book, Atomic Habits, where it kind of comes in, because you have goals, but then you have habits.
Yes.
And so I know you're in the middle of that book, and I never finished it. I got halfway through, as I usually do with books.
I'll let you know how it ends.
Thank you.
Probably about 6 months.
I'll get there someday. It's a great book. So many books I buy, and they're, like you get a couple thoughts out of them.
Yeah.
That one is really, I think, impactful, because it's, even in reading half of it, I've put things in place and tried to change some things.
Really interesting. But this was like on everybody's must read, blah, blah. And I decided I want to be a reader now. Yeah. So I'll let you know how that goes in the next couple of months.
Scholastic reader from when I was a kid.
But one of the things that really struck me was he was talking, like at the very beginning of the book, talking about creating habits and setting goals, and how setting goals is a really important piece of driving progress and businesses and life and all the stuff. But you, what did he say? You do not rise to the level of your goals; you fall to the level of your systems. And so I think, like, whenever you're a business owner or a director or whatever position you're in, if you're setting a goal, you have to think about where you truly are in your systems, and maybe one of your goals is to help build some of the systems. Yeah. But I feel like you can only go that far.
Yeah. Your systems or your habits that you've built in support of your goals.
Yes.
Are huge. So.
Yes. So I found it really impactful. Like, needed to go back and get a highlighter for that.
Yeah.
Post it on my mirror every day.
Well, if you follow his little system of stacking, you do write down some habits. Yeah. That's kind of what I was working with my kids on, is you write those down and you start to shade in every day that you did it.
Yep.
And then you start to realize, okay, I'm creating habits, and now I'm starting to stack habits on top of those habits. And, and all in service of
building my systems.
My why and my goals.
Yes.
And I think that's an important thing, even to close this video with, is just sometimes when we're talking to a business owner, we've got to tap into that why. Why are you doing it? Why are you waking up every day and doing what you're doing? And then that starts to go into, this is why we're doing this, and here's the goals that support that why. That's a Simon Sinek thing, obviously.
Yeah.
He didn't invent it, obviously. It was around for years, but he talks a lot about it. And I think that's something else that I know it's where I go in the sales process, is if I'm not getting some of the answers I want and the discovery of trying to figure out the goals. Maybe when you're, onboarding a new client or working through a quarterly review, where you just kind of got to step back and go, like, all right, why are we doing what we're doing?
Exactly. Yeah. So. It's more than just like revenue goals. I feel like most people can like easily spit off their revenue goals or some sort of like lead goal or whatever. But if you get back into here's why we're doing it, then you can get so much better at setting those to be like smart for real.
Yeah. And then I'll add this disclaimer, as a capitalist, I surely appreciate just pure profit goals and business goals and revenue goals.
You have to have it. But like there are other components too that can really amplify that.
Yeah, absolutely. So good deal. Well, I thank you for joining us again, Alex, and unpacking company goals early in the year here. Hopefully this spurs anybody on who's not done that yet, really focused on it, to get started with it.
It's not too late.
It's not
Keep
too
going.
late. It's not too late. Rock on. So we were kicking off this, like I said, this episode for 2022. We're going to do these throughout the year consistently, as we have for the last few years. Excited about that, and stay tuned we've got one coming up on website hosting and really WordPress managed hosting is what it's on. And then we've got a whole series coming after that on the flywheel. And that'll be exciting. So tune in coming up in March, April, as we rock on, getting started here in 2022.
Yep.